overlap, but... Alright, Yarok Field. So, Field of the Dead's a card that's definitely a format staple at this point. There's a lot of decks playing Scape Shift to, like, combo this card out into play. This is a more fair Field of the Dead deck in that we don't have any Scape Shifts in our deck. We started with some earlier in the week, and they quickly just, like, didn't feel good. Yarok specifically doubles up not only creature into the battlefields, but any permanent. So this doubles up Field of the Dead triggers as well, which is a big deal. So this deck is a more fair way to do that. Past that, we also have Cavalier of Thorns and things like Rejuvenator and things that draw through our deck and clear through it. So we have Jace as an alternative win con, as well as Nexus of Fate, because eventually if we get down to just this, we can just loop Nexus and, like, kill them, figure out some way to kill them that way. Let's head on into some matches and see how this goes. We've been winning a good deal with this one, so we'll see if we can keep that up. So the 3-color frames, all the 3-color, if you look at 3-color cards in Magic, 3-color Magic cards, they just have, like, the multicolor gold frame. There isn't, like, a Jeskai frame. Yeah, maybe, Larry. Crucible is definitely a card that seems reasonable. I haven't played enough with Jace or Nexus to know which of those I prefer, so I'm just playing both. I mean, we literally played the Party Bus deck last week. Again, remember, the decks that we play on this stream are not representative of decks that I like or dislike, generally speaking. Pretty much everything that we play are decks that come out of the deck queue. So things tend to kind of ebb and flow. There will be decks that people are requesting a lot, that come up a lot, like this one recently. And then there's other decks that, like, were popular among people that are submitting things and then will become less popular. Yeah, that's fine. There's another blue source for this. This is a pretty good example of why I kind of like Jace in the deck, though. Like, if this card was Crucible of Worlds right now, this hand wouldn't really be going anywhere, right? But, like, this is a sustained source of card advantage, in theory. Hey, K9, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yep, it is $10 to add a standard deck to the queue. This is one of the decks we've played to rank up a little bit with, yeah. They're probably Scape Shift, actually, Dude Light. Yeah. Yeah, you see the Guildgates. Guildgates usually signify Field of Dead in this format. If you have 5-color Golos give back in the queue, that deck's a blast. 10 out of 10 Gengar. It is a lot of fun. I agree. Alright, so do I just get Jace going? I think I want to just start drawing cards with Jace. It's not very resource efficient, though. If I Yarok, I can double Elf, double Rejuvenator next turn, which means if they Scape Shift me on their next turn, I want to try and get my Field of Dead going so I can make enough zombies to block inside of combat. So I think it's right to play Yarok this turn because I want my Rejuvenator next turn if they Scape Shift this turn. Oh, dude. Hey, something that's kind of cheeky is that obviously it'd be hard on the mana, but Yarok actually makes things like Prison Realm and Excellent Binding trigger twice, right? If a permanent enters the battlefield causes a trigger you control, it triggers an additional time.
responsibility. That's more like it.
Zombie, 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 hey, hey.
Hey, that was uncalled for.
Now, the Assassin's Trophy did ramp them, right? So if they have landscape shift, they're gonna make a lot of zombies.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
I chose field over arc. I chose field over arc because I wanted to be able to combat their utility lands that they're going to be getting. And my hand is so full of expensive spells right now that I'm pretty unlikely to be able to I'm pretty unlikely to be able to activate arc anytime soon. Anyways. I think I just play Yarok here. Yeah, Tron went 3-2, I think. Some people were asking about Modern. Sorry about that. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the play patterns Tron creates. They're a little bit meh. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana total. I think this deck's a lot better against a lot of the hate cards people are playing against those Scape Shift decks, just because we put our lands into play naturally. I also think that our deck has a big leg up against these decks because we get to play 4 Unmortigo in the sideboard. The Soul Diviner takes permanence off of. Soul Diviner is the droid you're looking for. We're gonna crank this Blast Zone to 2, which kills these Hydroid Crisis. You missed Scape Shift and Field of Dead decks becoming incredibly popular in this format, which has made Unmoored Ego get much, much better. So Unmoored Ego taking all the Field of the Deads out of the opponent's deck generally leaves them very light on win conditions. This format is basically Modern. Alright, so this needs to find 1 untapped land in 2 triggers to be able to Blast Zone here. So do I take the guaranteed untapped land? Probably. I could take Field of the Dead and gamble on finding an untapped land in the next one, but I'm dead on board right now, so I think that's probably not a good gamble. Yeah, we'd have had more zombies if we'd have gambled a little bit there, but I like being conservative, I think. Yeah, I think Unmoored Ego is better than Ashiok. I would play it, and I am playing it. Oh yeah, I can technically jump with Cavalier, that's fair. So not dead on board if I miss. Good catch. Yeah, that's true. Tef clearing the Cavalier out. I think it's right to just take the guaranteed way to clear their Hydras. They've drawn 4 cards, also dead to Prison Realm, if I do that. That's an 8/8, yep. They have another Arboreal Grazer. Yikes. Hey, Yildrin, thank you for the third of a year support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. It is not possible, Yildrin. I think I want to mill them just to like try and take lands out of their deck that could otherwise be helpful when they scape shift. All right, Assassin's Trophy will be good down the line here. If they kill my Cavalier in combat, I have 2 more Cavaliers in my bin that I get to pick up. And the Cavalier coming into play will trigger Reef and Yarok. Or will trigger Reef twice and trigger twice on its normal text too because of Yarok. Hey, Miss Light, thanks for the 2-month resub. I think this deck's just good at churning through itself on average most of the time anyway, Silver Star. So I'm trying 1 Jason, 1 Nexus to see how they feel. I thought Bridge from Below was banned in Modern, asking the real questions. It's the thriller. Beep 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 doo. And like, their deck is much worse at this whole fairly making zombie things than ours is. Thanks to that, thanks to Yarok. Yeah, I'm gonna get to Field of Ruin, one of their Field of Deads here in a second. Mobile magic win, please. So an attack with Crisis here is actually really bad for them. So I'm actually only going to block with Cavalier of Thorns here. This lets it trample over and kill Jace. But if I block with the Grazer, they can choose to kill Grazer and then not kill my Cavalier of Thorns. And I'd really like to draw Cavalier of Thorns next turn. Yeah, I don't think this deck needs Graces. I feel like I look at like what this deck is doing and I'm like, why do I need Hydroid Graces? Like, what problem is it solving for me? Actually, am I supposed to field them first? Because I might clear over all my basics, right? Actually, I'm already through all my basics. Because there's one in play. Okay, yeah, so no point in fielding them first. How are one land off at casting that? Well, I need trophy to not die to this, right? Ooh, yeah, Jace could draw us a land. Do we attack with zombies next turn? Yeah, probably. We're getting very close to Nexus of Fate being the only card in our deck here too. Yeah, I'm not really sure you need Crucible to take their Field of Deads out when we're just unmortigoing them. We also have trophies that can kill their Fields of Dead. This is match 1, game 1. Been on here for 15 minutes. And if you haven't seen this deck before, this is one of the many awesome decks you can find on the standard decks page of my website, magicesports.net. Ton of great decks up there with deck lists, descriptions, and videos of me playing them. So Egos and an extra trophy, Disfigures and Grazers out. Probably bring in a Noxious Grasp as well. Pretty clean sideboarding. Just don't need this card to race, and the 0-3 body isn't very meaningful. It blocks one whole zombie. It does block an entire zombie. That's very, very true. What's the target for Unmortigo? The priority is usually Field of the Dead, followed by Hydroid Crisis. Yeah, I bet, Marty. Yeah, 4 Grazer and 4 Disfigure should give us pretty reasonable fighting chance in most of those matchups. Come for the Magic content. Stay for the random occasional rant about anti-vaxxers. Thanks for the fun. Thanks for the 14 months, Waratog. I appreciate you shipping your Prime Bucks back this way again. So this hand doesn't currently have any untapped lands in it, but it's definitely a keep. Veil does beat Ego. That is correct. So does things like Dovin's Veto. But again, like as that first game shows, we don't need to ego them to win, right? Egoing them is nice, and it's something we'd like to be doing, but it's by no means a requirement. A lot of the time, these Bant decks like tap out for a ramp creature or a Teferi early too, and they give you a window to ego them while they don't have anything up. This game looks to be spiraling out of control a little bit here. Oh, they just have a veto. Okay. Isn't your opponent faster if they draw Escape Shift? In theory. Ego can name lands. I think it's worse than playing Unmoored Ego. I think if I'm gonna put a card in the sideboard for this matchup, I'd rather just have it be Ego. I wonder if they have Gust. Are we about to get gusted? Untapped land there was a good rip. Lands, please. Lands, please. Thank you. Thank you. Game 2. Formats changed. The power level of cards is contextual to the format in which they're being played. Ego has always been good in Modern, and the standard format is very close to what Modern is. Yeah, I agree, Marty. Getting to play Risen Reef and Yarok is a big deal. They're both just like good cards, right? We're just like about more of a good cards deck. So I'm going to lead on Dismal Backwater here, because if I draw a Growth Spiral, I want to be able to cast it on 2. It also lets me cast Witch Figure on 1, which is nice. Jund Dinos. I've not played this matchup, but we've got trophies and we've got Noxiouses in the board. This is a matchup where Disfigure is not super great. That was a good draw, though. Hopefully we find our third green source here. Perfect. I'm going to grab Overgrown Tomb rather than the Temple. Not only is Overgrown Tomb a land I don't already have in play, but it'll put this Drowned Catacombs into play untapped in the future. If we hit an untapped black source here, we can hold up Disfigure this turn too. Perfect. Yeah, our curve here was very good. Opponent's curve is also good, but ours was great. I mean, like, we're still in a pretty good spot here, right? You know, maybe I should have saved... Maybe I should have saved the Disfigure. So that way, this could eat this inside of combat with the Disfigure. It's a very real possibility. Yeah, there was an event, Galta, that you could get a promo for at one point. I'm keeping Field of Rune in my hand because it can trigger Field of the Dead. I think if they attack with this, I just, like, pick a Cavalier of Thorns back up and then, like, play it. So if they attack, we're like, block, get Cavalier back, play Cavalier. Now, the Jund Dinos decks that have been going around do have a lot of copies of Collision Colossus in them as a way to punch through blockers. So that is something I'm going to want to think about when I'm, like, lining up my blocks and thinking about, like, what's good and what's bad. It might also be right, honestly, just to throw a Arboreal Grazer away here on the block. Huh? I think I just want the Cavalier. Because this Cavalier gives me a chance to find a Field of the Dead. And I'm going to cash this Elfin as a gain 8 now. Normally you want to chump block later, but because they have Collision Colossus in their deck, chump blocking now when I'm guaranteed not to get trampled over is very appealing. They discarded a Regisaur Alpha, which means, and they have 5 mana, which means the rest of their hand is probably pretty stacked. If this is a Galta, no, just another Regisaur, sure. This, take 8, go to 9. They draw a card, they have to discard next turn. Take 9, go to 8. This has trample. Yeah, seems fine. Even spells are obviously good draws, and lands make 2/2s next turn. Because I wanted to kill their dino. If I put all of these on here, I still lose to collision. Well, I don't lose the game, but I don't lose the game, but I don't, what's the word I'm searching for? I think I want a Risen Reef here. Yeah, I don't kill it. That's what I mean. All right, that's a reward for taking the Risen Reef back here. Now, the Huntmaster here means they have a lot of scary top decks. That is not one of them, though. Take my chump block with the 1/1 now. All the chumping is good. So I'm going to lead on Rejuvenator here, because this gives me the highest probability to hit another Field of Dead. Can also do that and let me scry before I play this Reef. Yep, in for that one. If there is an untapped land underneath this Cavalier of Thorns, we can take it to our hand and then play the Cavalier this turn. That is tapped regardless, so let's just put it into play. My opponent could rip a Galta and potentially kill us this turn. Maybe not. If we don't die this turn, the Cavalier of Thorns is going to lock it up next turn. For fuck's sake. I think we're still going to be okay. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. This deck is so sweet. I could have gained one more by blocking Ulta with the 0-3. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, if I die to a shock, I could have won. You know, I probably should have attacked for 2 there to put them to 14. That's one less zombie I need to hit them with, right? Yeah, that's exactly correct, Steric. If they attack, we block in a way that lets us not die to Collision Colossus off the top. 1000%. And in fact, if they don't make us trophy something, we get to just activate this arc. Triggers. Yep. Yep. Puppy! Puppy! To bring in some grass, to bring in some trophies. What am I cutting? Jace is definitely just like punching fodder. Let's get rid of him. The Grazers are kind of just punching bags, but at the same time, their bodies seem okay. Yeah, Disfigure, like, kills their haste guy, but that's about it. We trim 1 Grazer? What do we think of that? Or do I just want max Grazers on the draw? What if I leave max Grazers in and trim a Rejuvenator? That's true. I probably don't need the Nexus in this matchup. Yeah, I probably don't. Just like I don't need the Jace, I don't need the Nexus. This could be a matchup where I want Ceratops of my own just as like to trade with them. I could see playing this a bunch and then concluding I want my Ceratops in. This is not a matchup for Ego. Ego is for other Field of the Dead decks and Nexus of Fate decks. The one of Nexus of Fate is so we don't deck by mistake. I don't think Drake is good enough. Because, like, Regisaur and their 2-3 are things I want to kill a lot of the time. Unmoored Ego because they play cards. Unmoored Ego is the surgical extraction of Standard, to be fair. Everybody wants to play it all of the time. Opponent has mulligan to 5. We're playing Sultai Gates, but a lot of this deck's hands are basically Sultai Gates. Any land tier is a good draw, because it means I get to guaranteed play a 3-drop on 3. I like the fact that this deck has so many lands in it, it's difficult for even me to get mana screwed too often. Good level of consistency. Hey, thanks for the 22 months, Rich. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I finally got my trusty steed. Thanks for 2 years of memes and fun. Thanks for keeping me around, Fossil. I appreciate it. I agree. I think, a lot of my early negativity about this format was because I was expecting it to be something that it wasn't. And much like playing Modern, when you temper your expectations to realistic, this format is much more enjoyable to play. When you understand that there's going to be matches and games that you're just going to lose because of matchup variance, it gets a lot more tolerable. So, I have this other Yarok in my hand. I think I'm just blocking the Regisaur here, right? Or I'm blocking that one and getting a 2-for-1. Okay, let's do that. If they want a Colossus, this Raptor. And like they have 1 card left and it gets discarded to this Regisaur, this is probably a concession Yarok. This deck's sweet. I think we're gonna need to play it a lot more, obviously, but the only I have one event that I kind of care about in the standard format. The Arena MCQ is next month, and this'll probably be the deck that we work on when that gets closer. Yeah, we get double Scries and we get double life gain off the life gain lands, just like double Field of Dead triggers. I'm gonna keep this on the play. I don't have a black source for this, but we'll probably find one by the time we get to here. Hey, appreciate that every creature in this deck passes the Teferi test. It really does, yep. How is the red matchup? I think the red matchup's probably hard, but the red deck also hasn't been super popular lately. But I think the red matchup is likely hard, which is why I put 2 Drakes in the sideboard. Yep. All right, we're gonna cast this Growth Spiral now, because if we hit an untapped black source, we can Witch Figure this. We did not, but that's fine. After watching your stream yesterday, I built Jeskai Walkers and went from Plat 4 to Diamond. Yep, yeah, I added Jeskai Saheeli back to the website last night after our set. It was a really good set. Yeah, I don't think the red matchup's unwinnable, but I definitely would bet it's one of our harder matchups. Like, you have tools, but, like, you're on the draw and have a bunch of tap lands sometimes, you're just gonna die. Red Rover, let Spellbreaker come over. Alright, I mean, that's a black source, eventually, technically. If we hit an untapped black source next turn, we're going to be a pretty strong favorite to win. If we miss on a black source and have to Field of Ruin to get it, we might end up 1 turn behind here. Nice, pizza. Yeah, I'm glad to hear. And this deck, a lot of people have been asking about rotation-proof stuff, and while I generally don't put much thought into that, this deck is incidentally very rotation-proof. The number of rares and stuff that you're losing are very minimal, because this deck doesn't even play full playsets of the check lands, because it just doesn't want to. All right, come on, untap Black Source. Untap Black Source. Papi! Hashtag sometimes lucky. Yeah. Now, unfortunately here, because they played a 4-4, if they have a Domri's ambush, they can kill my Yarok. That being said, if they had a Domri's ambush, they might have killed the Risen Reef last turn. So hopefully that's not a thing. Are we going to fight my Risen Reef? Oh, we can fight these, sure. Sure, fight resolves. I'll gain 3. Your creature will die. Hey, Hayes, thanks for keeping on with the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. I mean, like, this game is over, right? We're gonna disfigure this, kill the Domri, play another Yarok. Don't mind me, just drawing a couple more cards here. Not that we even need that one, but like, you know, it's there and it makes me happy. All right, so against a Gruul deck that's lower to the ground and playing elves, do I leave in Disfigure? Yeah, I agree, Pelly. Our deck is functional even when it's not firing on all cylinders. They could have Legion Warboss too. Yeah, that's true. All right, so now here's the other question. Would I rather trim Growth Spiral or Elvish Rejuvenator? I could Coward Split it. I think I'm gonna Coward Split it. You take out Nexus. Nexus and Jace are our 2 cards that make sure we don't lose games where we're decking against fair decks, against decks that are going long. All right, let's try this. We approach sideboarding here like my toddler approaches eating dinner. We just nibbled around the edges a little bit. We didn't really commit to any one thing. It was just little bits here and there, but I think this is probably fine. The Teferi test. The Teferi test refers to your creatures doing something when they enter the battlefield. So all of our creatures here do something when they enter, so they're not profitable for Teferi to be bouncing. Yarok is like close to profitable, but if I have a Reef in play, you don't want to bounce my Yarok. So Yarok's like halfway passes the Teferi test. Haste is also another good way. This is not a keepable hand. Has lands and spells. Lands don't really cast these spells, and it just doesn't do anything for too long. Yeah, this hand sounds great. I'm gonna keep... What do I get rid of here? Is it just Growth Spiral? I feel like it's Growth Spiral or Field of the Dead. Discuss. It's probably just Spiral, right? I think it's Spiral. when we have a lot of removal post board, especially with these witch figures, we can curve out very naturally a lot of the time with this deck, which is nice. So I'm going to play this Overgrown Tomb tapped here, which I know these always come into play tapped, and maybe I could lead on this, but I think there's a pretty low probability that I'm going to want to trophy something onto, and this leaves me the flexibility to get my Disfigure without paying life. I mean, if you're really worried about enchantment removal, you could play an Ugin. That's a fine card to play. I also kind of just think though, I don't really need that, right? I have triple green. I go tapped field into untapped this, play Cavalier next turn. I think I'm just trophying the Spellbreaker. It gives them a 5th mana, but I have to do it now because it's going to gain hexproof. A lot of the times, the Jeskai deck, if you're not getting like exactly excellent binding, just killing your opponent is good in the Jeskai deck. The reason why the Jeskai Saheeli or Jeskai Planeswalkers, whatever you want to call it, is good is because it's not really a control deck. It's more of a tempo deck. It's a deck that like has a little bit of disruption, but then pivots and kills people incredibly quickly. I think ditching Cavalier is incredibly wrong. I think this 5/6 body is very, very good in a matchup like this. This is pretty good here. We have a trophy to clean her up, assuming they don't have Veil. But she gets a haste hit in. If they have like another Nissa here, there's a good chance we're dead. Although I guess now we get to curve Yarok into Cavalier, so like that's nice. It's gonna get a yikes from me, dog. I think I'm supposed to use this as a gain too. Just like World's Worst Healing Salve. So my opponent actually missed a point of damage here. Yeah, they could have attacked with these and played this post-combat. If I play Yarok and they make a 3/3 and attack me, they get to... I gain 3 here, and then I take 8 total. So I'm dead to like another haste creature here. But I think this is the play to win line, because if Yarok gets to double trigger Cavalier of Thorns next turn, we end up in a pretty okay spot.
The land shall conquer you.
So I'm not, I am exactly dead here actually, right? I block here, I go to 14, I take 14. A lot of haste monsters. You know, looking at how this game played out... Oh, I can't block Ceratops, it's pro blue. Yeah, good call. I'm actually gonna cut the Grazers. I'm gonna... Can I just play this card myself? I think I'm in for that, right? I think I'm in for just like playing my own Ceratops. I think there's a good chance this card is fine. And this is one of the reasons why Ceratops is such a good card in the sideboard, I think, is because its stat line just makes it okay in these monster matchups, in addition for it to being, like, good against mono blue and, like, flash and stuff like that. Yarok's a really sweet card, Sorin. This is the low end of keepable. It does just need to draw lands, and we have a lot of lands in our deck. Never didn't have it. Yeah, the turn 1 scry helps too. 10 out of 10. So we need an untapped land in our next, like, 3 cards. If we get a tapped land this turn with this one, we could Ceratops next turn. So this is why I didn't just Growth Spiral right away. By Noxious Grasping in response to this trigger here, they both don't draw a card and they don't get 2 more power. Growth Spiral looking incredibly awkward here. If we get an untapped land next turn, if this survives, we get an untapped land, we get to Yarok double trigger, which will leave us in a pretty good spot. I don't know. It looks like they're playing green-red dinos, but they were definitely playing something that looked a little bit different than this in the second game. We're taking 9 here down to 11. Really need that untapped land. I guess we have Ceratops to block next turn. Land would be, untapped land would be ideal though. This does leave me dead to second Ceratops. I am dead to second Ceratops here because they're pro blue, and protection is incredibly engaging, interactive mechanic. And I gave them a chance to attack with this so I could block this. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to put the grave into play tapped there and play our Ceratops to trade. Yeah, I gave them a chance to hit the attack with all button and be sloppy. Yeah, boy! Thank you for the Prime support, I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. You're having a, what is that? There's a piece of paper on my floor. There were children in my office recently, chat. Oh. I don't think I'm in the market for that with this Grazer in my hand. Sweet. Esper's matchup I want to play. I mean, they probably have either another discard spell or they have like a piece of spot removal for this. And the Yarok's not currently doing anything, right? It's not like I have a Risen Reef.
Hone your prowess.
I'm gonna grab Jungle Hollow here. Just because I want differently named lands in case I draw a Field of Dead. I already have a temple, both my temples in play. So I miss a Scribe, but I think that's fine. Almost messed that up. I think I just do this. It's Probably gets them to Kaya's Wrath. Hey, Zikta, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
I won't hide from the world any longer.
Really? Okay. Deal. You've missed most of the Yarok deck. This might be the last match with it. I'm going for almost an hour. Why does it feel hopeless? I think we're in an okay spot. Remember, the Esper deck doesn't really take over until they have a sustained source of card advantage. So unless they're able to, like, keep a Teferi in play or keep a Search for Azcanta going, like, they're just 1-for-1ing us. I know it's a slog, but hopeless is the wrong word. If you feel the current game feels hopeless, I think you need to kind of reassess how, how matchups actually are going for you. Yeah, like, field starts turning everything we draw into a land, right? They just have double. Are we about to get double Othakayed here? Yeah, right? Like, they're basically out of stuff. Like, we're both out of stuff, but every land I draw makes a 2/2. Did I say, oh no? Oh no. Oh, I shouldn't have played that Watery Grave. I forgot that I was like, oh, I get a second field, and then, well, my next differently named land makes a 2/2. Yikes.
This might be a bad idea.
Gonna go ahead and give Narset a love tap here.
I have reached my limit.
I get to dual wield swords next month. You get a horse next month. And like, I want you to consider this game for a second. We've drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells in 18 cards. We've drawn mostly lands this game, and like, we're still in this. They're gonna cast instant speed Kaya's Wrath. I'm gonna play this Rejuvenator and like put the same amount of power back into play immediately.
No more games.
All right, go.
I'll protect you.
Thanks, JW. We're all about the little details around here. Do you want your Teferi or not? Wow, do they have dub spot removal?
This is hardly my worst defeat.
I think I want a Yarok here. We like Yarok into double Rejuvenator.
Hurry!
Like if this isn't a D-Spark or a cast down. Yeah, the other Cavalier could have been a possibility too. This is like pretty good though. Oh, cast down doesn't do it. That's true. It's legendary. Hey, remember that time they wrathed us last turn? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, it's probably fine. I have an Arc to draw 2 cards. Yeah, we don't have Scape Shift, Bob. This is just a testament to how miserable lands are to interact with on average. Yeah, this is just, we're just like naturally, we're just Valakuts and Titans. We've cut the Scape Shifts, is basically what this deck is. Get ready to be egoed. We've got plenty of threats. Jace wins the game. These dorks win the game. Yeah, I saw Allie's deck. I think this deck is just doing what that one's doing, but better. Really feel like Golos is just too cute. The standard format is literally Modern, Dallas. Cards that are good in Modern are good here. Enter Unmoored Ego. You made me craft Bloodsun. Bloodsun's a good card. Bloodsun is fine right now. Turns off field, draws a card. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. My opponent egoing our fields is, like, one of the better things they can do. But, like, we're not just dead, right? We just, like, play a game of Magic where they have a chance. Just another tapped land. I'm gonna bottom that, hoping to draw an untapped land here. We got a lot of untapped lands in our deck. It pains me that these lands are non-foil. Hand's pretty good against a discard spell. I guess they could take Noxious Grasp. Wee McGee, thank you for the 13 months of Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Oh, you're gonna never do this, chat. Never, ever do this. Do not hope to land screw the 29 land deck. And I'm sure now that I'm saying that, we're gonna brick off on lands. I guess this milling us is really good, huh? I mean, I guess I'm glad we have an Nexus in our deck. I'm glad we have an Nexus in our deck. Hey, Jeff, can you tell my girlfriend, Emma, congratulations on the new job? She watches you on YouTube every day. Congrats, Emma. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. My dreams dissipate. Thanks, Wee McGee. Great Bone Dad. Thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So I just jammed Big Papa Cav here. I think I just jammed Big Papa Cav and get some ramp going. I feel like if I play Yarok, he's pretty likely to die before he gets a trigger anyways. So I think that's fine. No, Nexus, what's it called? Is what we refer to as a replace. Oh no. We just lost 2 of our fields. That's unfortunate. I guess we got 1, but losing 2 of them here really sucks. Good news is if we draw a land that's not one of these 6, we get to start making zombies. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe because I drew this, I should wait to play this after I play this. This might induce a Kaya's Wrath out of them if they have it, though. And then I can play Cavalier of Thorns and pick this back up later. Yeah, Nexus doesn't get exiled.
Trust me. You'll thank me later. Don't worry. I got this.
Opponent giving us a chance to sequence correctly here.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
As you will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, exiling those is real good. Zombie, 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 hey, hey. Man, my whole board just went away. It'd be a darn shame if someone were to rebuild it. Oh, you know what? I probably should have played Yarok and then played that field. Yeah, that's probably a mistake on my part. And again, like, situations like this, the only way they claw back in is a sustained source of card advantage. So just, like, having these in my hand makes them incredibly unlikely to win. Oh, look, my Cavalier of Thorns is getting back Cavalier of Thorns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. And I have 10 mana. Yarok seems... But Yarok seems win more... I think if you think Yarok is win more in this deck, you need to pay closer attention. I think this deck's really good, Bob, for what it's worth. Yeah, at some point our deck runs out and we just start casting Nexus of Fate, yeah. Yeah, I think after playing these... The one Nexus seems fine. I'm gonna play one more match, but I think I want to turn this into a Crucible. I've wanted that a few times. Where did this deck come from? Someone submitted a build-around submission for Yarok, and Field of the Dead, and this is what I put together. I cut the Jace. Yeah, we started with 2 scape shifts and I quickly cut them. They just didn't feel necessary. This hand would be so good if any of these lands made green. This is fine. Yeah, he gets binned, and he's just hard to cast, and... Is Field too good? Field is the type of card that I think is unhealthy to print into Standard. But I'm having fun with this deck, and it's powerful, so we're going to play it. I need a Standard deck to play at the Mythic Championship qualifier. Just a couple of lands are rotating, Bob. Basically nothing is rotating. Alright, if we hit running lands, Sure, the Nexus technically rotates. The Nexus is kind of an afterthought in my mind. You're right, the Nexus rotates. Yeah, Nexus is nowhere near the focal point. That's a tilt. That's a good hit, though. Yeah, the purpose of Nexus is so you don't deck. Unmoored Ego is for the other Field of Dead decks in the format. That's probably unbeatable. I guess we could find our way to... We might just be dead this turn, actually, right? So this makes me pay 2. I lose 2. I don't know. I'll let them figure it out. Maybe they have to sacrifice enough stuff that I don't die inside of combat. And then what am I getting back here? Probably a Witch Figure. That's pretty good. Nah, I don't think that's strictly true to Monger. I think Elvish Rejuvenator is fine, but I think the deck as a whole stays fine without it. There's plenty of games where you just, like, don't draw that card. And again, like, in general, I don't like to talk about, like, rotation-proof stuff, because it's really just hard to predict the future. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's not good enough. I'd encourage you to watch the videos where we tune the deck. Yeah, that's true too, what Nemesis said. Even if a deck isn't losing any key cards, there could be cards printed in the next set that make it not good enough.
You should be proud to have come so far.
Sure. They know I have a Disfigure. All right, do I just disfigure this because I can trophy this? I think that's the line. I think I just want to take less damage. Yeah, this attack seems bad. Yeah, they might not realize Yarok has lifelink. That's true. Pivot. Yep. And just like that, suddenly we're just in the driver's seat, right? This attack puts us back up to 10. Yarok has a lot of words. That he does. That he does. I think this game... I mean, honestly, this game was a great example of why Yarok isn't win more, right? We turn the corner hard and fast here. Our main deck, which figures and trophies went to work. This deck's a lot more interactive than, like, the more linear Bantscape Shift deck that's been going around, too, which is nice. Just down to 7, we're up to 13. I think we're done here. Like, even if they had something wonky like a main deck Kaya's Wrath, my Cavalier of Thorns gets back, like, another Cavalier of Thorns, and we just keep going. I can get back Crucible and just start playing out lands and get Blasted over and over again. Yeah, that's funny. Blaststone doesn't really do anything this turn, right? Alright, do I want to gain 2 or do I want to make 2 extra zombies? What's better, gaining 2 or more zombies? I think gaining 2 might actually be better here, huh? Like, I don't think I need the zombies, right? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Nexus and Crucible are for the grindy control decks only. I don't think this is a Noxious Grass matchup. I guess it kills a Johnny and Celebrant and it gives us a life. Are the Noxious Grass better than, say, Growth Spiral? Maybe they're better than Growth Spiral. I think Muldrotha is better than Crucible. I could see Muldrotha being okay. Drake comes in against Feather and Mono Red. That's true. A lot of the Crucible matchups are like Kaya's Wrath matchups, and Muldrotha dies to that, which is a real... yeah, they technically hit Seraph, but they leave behind 1/1s. I love that Grazer in this deck. Most of the time it's just like, you have so many tapped lands, Grazer lets you play your 3-drop on 3 instead of having to wait till turn 4. Just good clean deck building. You know what? I should play Jungle Hollow just in case I wanted to Disfigure on 2. If I drew it. Is Mulanti? I'm gonna be honest. What is the text box on Mulanti? Can someone pull that one up for me? I think I want to just Reef here. Return 2 lands you control to your hand. Return it from your graveyard to your hand. To set a bar that's incredibly low, I've registered Magic cards that are worse than that before. If they have another 1-drop creature here, we could be a little bit sad. Deal. We're like, what? 1 turn off a Field of the Dead triggering? Oh no! I had to say we were 1 turn off, didn't I? I had to say we were 1 turn off. Think I can fit anything else in here with my foot, chat? Do you think there's anything else I can... How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... So we were at 22 lands and 48 cards. How unlucky are we? 48, 22 hits, sample size is 5, I would like 1. We are 96.2%. 96.2% to hit there. We are the 3.5%. 4%, whatever you want to call it. Wow, the next card wasn't a land either. I mean, I'll take it. Hey, Gorks, thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate it. Sorry, I was figuring out how unlucky we are. I was busy figuring out how unlucky we are, Mr. Resub. Ooh, candy. Yeah, that's true. That's the first Rejuvenator we've missed on. So like, you know, running pretty good. I'm always the unluckiest. Alright, so Sulta Yarok. This is Yarok Field, whatever you want to call it. This is my pick for my favorite deck in the format right now. Let's talk about what's core and what's different and what you can change. First things first, I spent a lot of time looking through lands we could play. I think this mana base is great, and I probably wouldn't touch it. I think the mana base is pretty reasonable. Second thing, yeah, look at that mana base. There isn't more than 2 of any individual land other than Field of the Dead. Flex slots. These are what I would consider the flex slots. This is a 4 cards that you kind of pick and choose for like which matchups you want to hedge. I think these are a good balance, like 2 slots that are good against aggro decks and like 2 slots that are decent against control and mid-range. I kind of consider everything down here the core of the deck. You could maybe argue that Trophy's a flex slot, but I think this card is just so good in Standard right now that I would consider it pretty core to the archetype. But these are pretty confident you want to be playing all these cards here. Yeah, we're completely off Escape Shift, and I'm pretty certain that that's correct. Yeah, Trophy is absurd in this format.